All right, here we go. Today we have Jonathan Jacob Meijer, who is the subject of the Netflix documentary, The Man with 1,000 Kids, who is rumored to have as many as 1,000 children. Jonathan chose not to be part of the Netflix documentary. This will be his first in-depth sit-down interview. Welcome to Vlad TV.
Thank you. Really appreciate that you invite me. I'm super happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we actually flew you out from the Netherlands, and you actually had some problems at the airport.
Yeah. I was set like 2 hours at the border security. Well, can I explain? Yeah. Well, I asked to only have my flight covered and the hotel, and that was somehow suspicious. But they couldn't believe that I will be on Vlad TV. So the security guy, he was like, Vlad TV, why are you there? I said, yeah, there's a documentary on Netflix now with about me. And he was like, oh, yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't know it was you.
Well, right, because when you and I first started communicating, you said you didn't want to get paid for the interview because you didn't want to make money off your children. And you just asked for airfare and a little bit of food money and the hotel and so forth. Which we agreed to.
Yeah. So it was, in all fairness, it's great to be in LA, and it's for me it's a chance also to share my side. That's the most important, and I'm not an actor or anybody, an artist, or so I don't need a fee for being here.
Okay, so this is your first interview ever. So I want to go ahead and get the whole story. So you were born in 1981. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in the city of The Hague. It's the fourth largest city of the Netherlands, located at the beach. So we have this laid back, like California feeling. We are very laid back, friendly, lots of humor. It's a great city to grow up in that regard.
Okay, and you grew up with both your parents?
Yeah, both my parents and my 7 siblings. 6 sisters and 1 younger brother.
Well, I remember in the documentary, one of the women said that because you had such a big family, that she felt like you didn't possibly get enough attention or something like that. Is there any truth in that?
No. I can say with I think so many times back at my youth, like, oh, I had the best youth, and I think everybody that has a good youth will think this, like, my youth was just the best, and that my parents they did. I cannot express how much they did for us. My father's an artist. He wasn't really making a lot of money. He was also a blue collar worker, part time to make ends meet for the family. My mom was a stay at home mother. They give more than I can ever imagine. It's the wonderful time and. About getting attention. I was more like taking time off in my room because I was the only one with my own room because I couldn't share with my sisters at a certain age. And if I wanted to have, there was plenty more than enough attention. And my sisters cared for me, and we're always laughing, and absolutely the best upbringing I can imagine.
Okay, and all 8 kids came from the same parents.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, your parents were busy.
Yeah, it was actually a very conscious decision of them, and it's interesting that also when I was young, I know the fertility taboos or the infertility taboos, sort of say. I remember that people came to us like in my school and like, oh, are your parents having these kids because it's like the church rule, or is it like they don't know how the pill works or something? I say, no, we're just here because they really wanted to have a big family. We're very wanted, and okay, that's. But you run into these sort of like backwards ideas, or like people have like sort of these instant reactions when they hear, that you're from a big family.
Okay, and as a kid, were you a relatively good kid, or did you ever get in trouble, get arrested, that type of thing?
No, I've never been arrested. But I must say, I was a guy. I liked some vandalism once in a while, like making a fire, or just like once we found like these dolls, like there was a pile of trash, and we found these big like dog-like creatures, and they were like dolls. And I was the one that said, "Hey, let's put it on the road, like, and see if the cars would stop." And they would like stop and see like this dog. Supposedly, they were like getting out of the car, and we were like in the bushes, like laughing. And I was kind of like this a bit, yeah, how do you call it? Like naughty boy.
Okay, but never to the point of getting arrested or...
No, I've my criminal record is blank. Yeah.
Okay, so you go through high school and then you go to college.
Yeah.
Okay, what college did you go to?
Yeah, it's like you mean like a city or?
Well, what was the name of the college?
Oh, okay. It's called Hogeschool Rotterdam. It means like the High School of Rotterdam, literally, if you translate. So it means College of Rotterdam. And there I studied for becoming a social studies teacher, philosophy social studies teacher.
Okay, so why'd you want to become a teacher at that point?
Well, I tried 1 year before to do like marketing, because it was just like, okay, I want to do something like, yeah, that's very like it's a good salary, and I had this idea. But I found out that no, I want to work with people, and I had a very nice time in high school. It was the best time I had in school. It was really a great school as well. Like it was good people, very kind, and yeah, I wanted to sort of stay in that atmosphere. I was like, yeah, why shouldn't I stay in this this setting? Also, like you have school, and then you have like 6 or 8 weeks like holiday. Like that's something you cannot get in a regular job. Like so much freedom. So always this sort of freedom was like attractive to me.
Well, I remember in some of your YouTube videos, you tried different looks. Like you had your hair short at one point, you had your hair slicked back and everything. And ultimately, you decided to do the long hair. Was there a reason for the long hair?
I think it has, I was, when I was 14, it was like in the grunge era, sort of. Soundgarden was one of these bands that I'm really into. And I was like, I don't know, maybe like late 20s, early 30s. And then I had suddenly like a sort nostalgia to throwback to this time. And I rediscovered more of Soundgarden's music. And I really loved the area where Chris Cornell, he's now passed away, unfortunately, but he had like the long curly hair. And I was like, hey, wait, that's like me in my youth, but also like, I think it really looks nice. And I just let it grow. And somehow it was just like, yeah, this is me, this is the guy I am. And yeah.
And at what point did the music start? Was that still in high school or was that in college?
Way earlier. When I was young, my father would give like classical music, like Carnaval des Animo. It's a classical piece where the instruments like portray animals. It's really, for children, it's the best way to get sort of introduction into classical music. My father, he was also like into Christian rock, like it's called Larry Norman, Resurrection Band, like these you could say strong religious groups, but it's rock music. They had like this idea to make also for like Christian kids like rock music. Because back then rock music was from the devil, but they said music is music, and you decide if it's like for the devil or for Christ or any other religion. So I listened to a lot of, it was normal that we would hear like classical music at home, but also like rock music. And I myself started also at a very young age to be interested in especially the louder music. First like Stryper, but also bands like Crash Dog. It's like a Christian punk band. And I found the attitude of punk was most appealing because the other music was kind of romantic, which is fine. But I found this like feet in the ground, like really basic down what is life and the real problems that we face today. And I got into more like the punk side of music.
In terms of relationships, were you getting into serious relationships in high school or college?
High school, I had like the biggest crush on one girl, and I would just be like nervous to go to school. Like I would see her, and it was just like the sweetest thing if you think back now how big it was in my head. And but I was very not shy because I was in contact with her, but I was like I was not ready for that. Like serious relationships, I started at like 2021. Then I had like the real serious relationships.
Okay, how old were you when you actually lost your virginity?
That's right. No, I can't. Okay, no, it's okay. I was 20, so
Okay.
but I must say I had always the actually I wanted to keep it for marriage. Yeah. That was my intention, but yeah,
It didn't work out that way, I see.
yeah.
Okay, so you graduate from college and then you become a social science teacher for a high school.
Yeah.
Okay, how was that experience?
Yeah, I was always interested in philosophy and a little bit politics back then because there was sort of like it was like some like renewal in politics in the Netherlands, but it quickly died down. Yeah, and being a high school teacher was I really love the contact with the children. Especially high school age. That's my favorite time because I also, if I remember my youth, high school was like way above all like kindergarten or primary school. Wonderful time. So I love this era where they're sort of like still like children. You know, they make these children, but they're also like, yeah, they look like adults, but they have this childish. But I just love the humor, the grumpiness also they can have, and like total like, and they're still quite open. So when you're teaching philosophy or social science, they're really like opening for, hey, okay, the older you get, the more you have your political or ideology formed, and they're still like, yeah, balancing like, okay, okay, this is a good argument. This and that makes it interesting to be a social studies teacher in a high school.
Okay, so how long did you stay as a teacher in high school?
About 10 years, I think.
Oh, quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here you are, you're working as a high school social science teacher. And in 2004, you're around 23 years old at the time, a Dutch law passes. And basically what they said was that kids conceived by semen or egg donation have the right to access the information of the donor at age 16, which basically meant that donors could no longer be anonymous at that point, right?
Yeah.
Which was, I'm sure, quite a shakeup because a lot of times people donate sperm, a lot of times just for money, or, you know, they don't want to have to basically be connected with the offspring. But now this law passes and it exposed all these men, which from what I understand caused a huge drop in semen donation. Because, you know, suddenly these men didn't want to expose themselves, so way less men would come in, and it created a long waiting list for semen donation, which sometimes took years. Is that accurate?
Totally. Yeah. You're well informed. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what happens.
Right. And from what I understand, though, as long as there's some sort of contract in place, there is no child support required when it comes to semen donation, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So you have that, but then again, suddenly all these men were like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. So it created this huge backlog. Now, you had met a guy in college who was infertile.
Yeah.
Right? And is that what kind of got the thought process of potentially doing semen donation?
Yeah. I was quite close with him. We did our practicum, So we would go together to visit the school and do some lessons, like 2 or 3 hours. And he was like typical guy from The Hague, laid back, easygoing. And though we were like on a different, like I'm more conservative, I think he was more like liberal, you can say. But we were like totally accepting that we have these different. Was never any argument. He was like super cool guy, and I found it really hard that it's such a. And I've saw it many times before in my life that almost like the greatest people, they met with this bad luck, like infertility, and. Yeah, that was for me the moment like, wow, he's my age. And then you start to, at that age, you start to think like, okay, I want to have a family also later. And this sort of started the whole, for me to dive deeper into this whole donor world or fertility world.
In 2007, you're 26 years old at the time, you decided to donate sperm for the first time.
Yeah.
What led up to this decision?
So with his story in mind, and with the story of the sperm banks closing, I started to read a lot about it, and I started to think, this actually it's a really great way of contributing something to humanity or to people. And also, I'm always been into philosophy. So I've also studied 1 year philosophy in university. And I was always looking like, what's the meaning of life? How can I make my life meaningful? And I was reading like, I remember the moment where I was like, this is like, it was sort of like a moment where I was like, this could be also something that you could do. It was when I was reading like, there were like 4 windows. It was like in a magazine of my mom, it was like a ladies magazine, and it would like cover like 4 donors that were like a bank donor or like a known donor. And I was thinking like, wow, these men have really, they stay humble and small because, it's like on the 15th page, it's not like on the front page. You don't need like any big recognition for it, but they did something meaningful. And I was like, why should I do something like this? I really want to do something with my life for somebody else. And with the knowledge that the banks were also like, because there was still this message like, this bank is closing, we're in such high demand for donors. I decided to think like, okay, maybe you should like take a year to like balance it, like in your mind. Like, can you be a donor or not? And if after 1 year you're still like positive about it, then it's a sign, or it's like a that's go to a clinic and start helping. And the rest is history. I took the year and...
Okay, so you go to the donor location, and were you paid for this?
No, donors, they get like a travel compensation and maybe 10, 15 euros extra. Like they're not like, oh, you make this amount of miles. You get... They are like give a round number, like 50 euros, but
right.
You maybe keep 10 in your pocket, but it's also like a show of appreciation from the clinic.
Right. So nobody was actually supporting themselves by giving semen donation.
No, that's a misunderstanding. In the Netherlands, at least, I'm not sure how it's in other countries, but in Europe, mostly donors don't get like you will not get rich or money at all.
Well, right, because if you started giving semen donation in 2007, those kids are now 17 years old.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And, well, have any of those kids actually contacted you from early on?
I'm not like the all, but I think that I started in early that year, like winter, and they need like half a year at least to give the first batch. So they're about like 60 now.
60.
So it could be possible that
Right. 'Cause we're now reaching that age where they could actually find out your identity.
Exactly. They could
Right.
be. Yeah, this could be the first year that from the clinics, from the sperm bank, that there will be. Yeah.